When you get sucked back in, guess what? No one can help you. A whole other cycle of it. A whole other cycle of whatever it is that lesson is, and you have to then, be in that rhythm and cycle is what they were saying. So that's we have to teach the law of one, is I think what basically in cause and effect.
It's an example of when someone aggravates you, you have a choice of either being really just zen about it, and you're like, well, I'm not going to take this personally or let this affect me, because if you react to that, like you said, it's going to come back and slap you in the face.
Yep. And even people.
And I think like more is expected of us because we should know better, but our ego selves get involved sometimes. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we are in the earthly plane, so
we have to be. Well, here's my barometer of how things are going. If I'm getting too mad about something, it means I'm really off balance. Then I have to look at why am I so mad, and why am I reacting this way, which means that I'm really not in alignment with Source,
right,
or I wouldn't be so aggravated or angry.
right.
So when we step back into our fully divine I Am presence, then we can be peaceful about it and have no expectations about any situation or relationship, right?
Right, then everything flows. I've done that many, many times in my life. Everything just flows when you're in that, bringing in all actions from love. All actions should stream from the source of love.
So, like when you have expectations of an outcome or a person, what do you think is going to be come from that? If your expectations are too high or they're wrong,
Disappointment. Every time.
so then what?
Or aggravation.
So then what happens if you just have no expectation?
Then you enjoy the outcome of whatever it is, and it's blissful. I mean, it's what's
more
needed.
blissful.
It's what's needed when I've lived this way most of my life, on and off. And then as soon as you add expectations or perception into the mix, like you perceive it to be this way, and all of a sudden it's not really what that was in the first place, then you have to, and that kind of plays tricks in your mind. But if you have no expectations and just do actions from love and do actions of just doing it because you want to, from your heart center, then whatever happens, is in the perfect order that it should be.
Can I ask you both? I wanted to ask you both a question. Why do you think that? Why do you think that Spirit picked cycles as our first topic of conversation?
Well, I think it's because that's how this whole world operates, and when we recognize that we're just going through a cycle and it's all going to come back around in a circle, then we don't have to be so upset about it. We know that the scenery of our life is always going to be changing. The stories are always going to be changing. The characters are always going to be changing. Our feelings are never going to be the same. So if we just accept that things are always flowing and changing, then we don't have to get too attached to anything.
I love that. Thank you, Cindy. Candy, I wanted to ask you what you meant by, what do you mean that they can't help us? They can't help us because everything operates inside the law?
There's an order, in my opinion, yes. And so if you have actions and you step out and you take these actions and you're going down this road, it will, whatever the repercussion is as a cycle, and you come back around, they can give you guidance, but you still have to go through that cycle in order to get back to the circle.
Right.
So it's
nobody gets out of anything, right?
And then people think they're in victim mode, but you're really not in victim mode because it was all of your doing in the first place.
Right.
And it's interesting, but the whole entire world is getting back to a natural rhythm, and since we are part of Mother Earth, and everything is a part of the all, we have to be back into that rhythm and cycle, and we've been off balance for quite some time. That is what Lady Venus and Santa Camora is going to talk about today, about how it's been stretched like a rubber band, and it's been so off tilted, and now it's like springboarding back, so it's more like balanced, and we're going to be balanced more. And that's what they tell me every morning. They, meaning the councils and the angels, say to watch the rhythm of and cycles of nature to see how your day will go, and tune into that, sink into the day of how the day is. It's sunny and peaceful and awesome today, so that's how we're sinking into the day. If it was storming, maybe we would, just really kind of watch and sink into the day and be of what the nature is today, or how Mother Earth is.
Thank you, Candy. I wanted to ask Cindy about, they're talking about how important the number 3 is. The three of us, and I wanted to ask you what your take is on that, and why you think there has to be three of us to do this.
Because the third person is the counterpoint and brings the objectivity and that creative element back into, there is creation between two people, that's for sure. But when two people are communicating and bouncing ideas off of each other, they sort of get enmeshed with each other's